Please welcome Art the Clown.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of End to Explain. My name is John here on Burns Reviews, and today we are breaking down the new film by Damien Leone, Terrifier 2, starring Lauren LaVera, Elliott Fullam, Kailey Hyman, Emil McLean, Samantha Scaffidi, and David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. But before we begin, if you could, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe before the YouTube algorithm permanently dismembers this video. Yikes. Also, just a heads up, there's going to be a ton of spoilers for Terrifier 2, so if you haven't seen Terrifier 2, we also have a spoiler-free movie review, as well as a spoiler-free quick reaction straight out of the theater. Be sure to go check those out, or go check out the film, come back, what have you, but there's going to be a lot of spoilers, and this movie is kind of almost too good. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out first, and then come back, because it's really good. With that said, let us finally talk about it, Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 has world premiere at Fantastic Fest on August 29th, 2022, before being released in limited theaters on October 6th by Bloody Disgusting. On its opening Thursday night, the film grossed $400,000 across a mere 900 screens. By the weekend's end, it cleared $800,000. And while it was originally only set for a one-week limited theatrical release, audience demand led Bloody Disgusting to announce that Terrifier 2 would remain in theaters for a second weekend, October 12th. After the film pulled in a cool $1 million on its second weekend, on October 17th, this run was extended for yet another week, and since the film has grossed $5.3 million, up against a budget of only $250,000. Joining the list of iconic horror films that were slow to start with little marketing, but ultimately proved to be big hits due to word of mouth. Filming began on October of 2019, but halted due to world events, and then resumed and wrapped in July of 2021. The film stars Lauren LaVera as Sienna Shaw, the angel-attired heroine that was added to the script to act as a foil for Art. After the last Terrifier, Leone wanted to add more character-driven through lines to the universe by adding, as he calls it, heart and soul into the picture through the proxy of this new protagonist. One of the factors during the writing was establishing an adversary for Art, something inspired by the relationship between Batman and the Joker. And this isn't my take on the character. He literally told the actors this, like, you're Batman and you're Joker, go. And you know what? It works pretty well. You'll never see me detest that type of dynamic. So how does Terrifier 2 end? After being resurrected by the Paleface Girl, more on her later, Art decides to go on a murder spree, killing several people connected to Sienna. He kills the guy at the morgue from the first movie, a patron at the laundromat, a possum, a costume store clerk,
Cool.
Sienna's friend Allie, Allie's mom, Sienna's mom, Sienna's best friend Brooke, and Brooke's boyfriend, Just the Tip, who probably has the worst death on screen of them all. Meanwhile, Sienna Shaw puts the finishing touches on her Halloween costume, a warrior princess that was designed for her by her late father, who recently passed away after a brain tumor, which brought forth to him strange visions featuring Art and all of his victims. Perhaps even a glimpse of things to come.
He had like this giant brain tumor and he was like seeing things. No, one day he drank a whole bottle of Jack and he got in his car and he drove straight into one of those transformer things.
One night, Sienna has a dream where she encounters Art in a commercial for a restaurant. He hands everyone candy except for Sienna, who gets a beating heart in a box, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to My Bloody Valentine, but I'm not 100% sure. This scene is epic though, and it is one that is actually crowdfunded. Everything in the scene was done with the money that was brought in from Indiegogo, and that's why it's great. Everybody, all the extras are people that pledged, and the scene where Art just pulls out a Tommy gun and takes out everybody is fantastic. If there's one thing that I've always enjoyed about Art the Clown, is that when in doubt, he's not beyond taking a gun out and just shooting you point blank. Every single time, he does it once per movie, but every single time, I never see it coming. And this is just like, gets better every time, doesn't it? He's a sore loser, but you know what? In a villain, I like that. Before he catches her in the dream, a fire ignites on her dresser, waking her up, and incinerating the wings she has designed for her costume. A sword that was given to her by her father, though, remains unscathed amongst the ashes. Later at a party, Sienna is unknowingly given Molly by her best friend Brooke. As the drug reacts to the alcohol and the Xanax that she has taken previously, Sienna has a panic attack, and she is now given the ability to see a little girl dressed as a clown. Many have speculated that because Sienna's father also was able to see visions when diagnosed with brain cancer, that perhaps one's brain chemistry has to be messed with in order to see the demons and or clowns. But I think it goes much deeper than that. The third act of the film takes place at an abandoned carnival, presumably the same one that the pale-faced girl was murdered at. There, Sienna investigates the premises, including a haunted house named, you've guessed it, Terrifier. After failing to kill the seemingly immortal Art the Clown several times, Sienna is stabbed in the stomach with her father's sword and seemingly dies, falling into a dream she had earlier in the movie. Only this time trapped in a water tank typically used by magicians. However, the unknown power from the father's sword seems to send Sienna's blood floating to the top of the tank, and activates some kind of healing power, bringing her back from the dead. From there, she is able to save her brother Jonathan just in the nick of time, decapitating Art using the same sword. From that point, Art appears to be dead, and the ghostly little pale girl takes his head and leaves while Sienna and Jonathan embrace. In a mid-credits scene, an institutionalized Victoria, the mutilated sole survivor of the first movie, goes into labor, giving birth to Art's head. Yeah, a nurse enters the room to see what has unfolded and screams in absolute horror, while Victoria laughs like a crazy person. Best believe we're gonna see a lot more of her. Oh, and Chris Jericho's in this for some reason. Credits. So yeah, lots of questions, lots to unpack, more questions than answers, which, as it turns out, was Damien Leone's major plan to make you feel uneasy. But when trying to break down where part 3 and possibly 4 might be going, it's actually not as hard as one would think. Once you understand the characters, where they come from, it's pretty easy in my opinion to try to predict where it's actually all going. Keep in mind the reason this video took so long to put together is that I really want to do it right. I wanted it to be well researched. It's why I didn't put it out right away. I've seen The Ninth Circle and the Terrifier short twice. I've seen All Hallows Eve twice. I've seen Terrifier 3 times. I've seen Terrifier 2 4 times. I've watched interviews with Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton on Spooky Astronauts, FilmSpeak, Collider. I've read Wikipedia pages, fandom pages, Reddit pages. I followed actors and directors on social media talking about the film extensively because I wanted to get this right. Or, if nothing else, plausible enough that it seems like a pretty damn good theory. Basically taking all of the information and filling in all those little gaps between them to basically give you this. So let's get into it and start with Art the Clown. Art the Clown first made his appearance in 2003's The Ninth Circle, in which Art appears in a train station with bright yellow eyes, before drugging and dragging some poor woman back to hell. There she finds that she is chained up along with 2 other women. The women are occasionally dragged back down a tunnel where they meet their demise, a cult of unnatural beings who, let's just say, have their way with their victims in the most brutal way possible. Essentially in this version, Art is a gopher for this cult. If you notice, his eyes are seen glowing yellow, something we often see in the Terrifier franchise. But what does this mean? Traditionally in horror, it's a sign of possession. Here, in this chapter, Art is serving the cult, bringing them new innocent victims for them to feed off of. I'm willing to bet that on some level, he is being controlled by Satan himself, or whoever this Satan-looking demon is. We still don't know. But then, somewhere between episode 1 and 2, something happens. Art changes. We don't see his eyes lighting up anymore. Instead, we see the yellow glowing eyes on Victoria and the pale-faced girl, both of which were victims of Art. Now I know what you're thinking. Does that mean that Art was once a human who was then killed and is now being possessed by the Satan guy or somebody else? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I think he was being possessed for a short time, but I think he was always the demon from hell. I think in hell, the cult from the Ninth Circle used to have control over Art, and used him to fetch women to bring back to Satan, so that he could produce the Antichrist. Hail Satan! Yeah, the Antichrist. If you watch the Ninth Circle again, they're going out of their way to have this Satan-looking character impregnate and then steal the children. Why? Well, if you bring forth the Antichrist, the exact evil mirror and counterweight to Jesus Christ, well, that's how you get hell on earth. That's how evil wins. That or I've been watching The Devil's Advocate way too much. God is an absentee landlord! Hooah! But Art the Clown doesn't play well with others. He's not what you would call a team player. So I'm willing to bet that he was cast out of hell and banished here on earth, no longer connected to Satan with his yellow eyes, but rather discarded and left to his own devices. Mind you that Damien Leone has said before that when Art the Clown took himself out in the end of Terrifier 1, the character of Art had no idea that he would actually come back to life. He just did that. Unknowing. That's crazy. It also doesn't sound like a thing that a human would do, but maybe a demon that was banished here to Earth. In my opinion, Art the Clown essentially is a dream demon who has been banished here to Earth because even the devil is tired of his shit. How fucking metal is that? And what do you think he would do, knowing that information? After watching everything that Art the Clown has been in, it's clear the dude has no motivations. He doesn't want Satan to win, evil to win, good to win. He's a troll. Simply put, he's Bugs Bunny, but way more homicidal. He wants everyone to lose, as long as he can kick back and watch the chaos unfold. Pure misery and destruction is what he has always appeared to be after. So much like the Joker, much like Leone wrote him to be, he's going to be a wild card in all of this in the chapters to come. Which brings us to Sienna. Sienna Shaw is the main lead of Terrifier 2, who was introduced simply as a foil for Art the Clown, the Batman to his Joker. Good standing in the face of evil. What we know about her and her powers is very little though. We know that her power comes from her sword, and possibly her outfit that was created by her father. We know that Art has a difficult time killing her. And trust me, he does try. Every time he tries and fails, he's got that look in his eye like, fucking can't fucking. He's like the evil witch trying to get those slippers. He's like, It's kind of great. We know her character is based on films such as The Beastmaster, Red Sonja, Conan the Barbarian, and Excalibur, amongst other films in the sword and sorcery genre. We also know that her father had an inkling of things to come, and assumingly set the stage in such a way to give Sienna a fighting chance. Her dad is like Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you will. We know that he had visions of Art the Clown, which I theorize was only possible because of his brain tumor. I think it's the same reason why Sienna is able to see the pale-faced girl at the party. Mixing Molly, Xanax, and alcohol and a whole lot of anxiety put Sienna in a certain mindset that allowed her to see something that no one else can. As far as her being the chosen one, I think it's a fun idea, but the more I think about it, the more I think she's actually not. However, much like Obi-Wan Kenobi, don't let the truth get in the way of motivating your main character. I think we're going to find out that Sienna has powers because she believes that she does. Her father wanted to protect her, so I'm willing to bet that the only way that he could do this was to empower her into thinking that she was the chosen one. Let's go back to Art. I know Leone has stated that he wanted to make Art as visually different from Pennywise and Freddy as he ever could. However, as a dream demon, they follow similar rules on how they function. I'm willing to bet, much like Freddy and Pennywise, Art's power comes from his victims believing his existence and being afraid of him. Sienna is no different. It's only after knowing that she's about to die along with her brother that she finds the belief that she needs to defeat Art. The sword is powerful because she believes it to be. The father planted the idea of her being a hero by placing her inside of the notebook. That was the seed. I have no doubt that the father caused his own car accident to further stress the importance of this notebook. He knew a sacrifice would be necessary to give his words more weight to our hero. And it worked. In the third act, Sierra believes she is the Queen Phoenix, after finding out in a vision that she has failed her friends, her family, her mom, herself, out of mere desperation to save her younger brother from certain death. She believes she is the hero her father saw in her because it is the only crazy option she seems to have left. And it works. Well, I mean, mostly. You know, we have sequels to consider. But I have no doubt when it comes to Sienna, the power was always within her. Dream demons, for the most part, have always been defeated by believing that they are less powerful than you. It's only once fear takes over that evil is able to hurt us. It was true with Freddy, and it was true with both of the versions of Pennywise.
This is battery acid, you slime!
It's honestly the only way you can actually defeat these kinds of things. Much like our own dreams, they only have the power that we allow them to have.
There's a lot of controversy surrounding his supposed death. The authorities issued a statement claiming that his body disappeared from the county coroner's office the morning after the attack.
He's dead. I saw it happen.
Director's statement. According to Damien Leone, he said, "There's a supernatural tone in Terrifier 2 that I tried to capture a little of the essence of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, an element that you really get in the crowd-funded dream sequence. Dawn of the Dead was also an inspiration for the film in terms of how relentless and violent the film is, stating, "You don't go too long without something crazy happening, or something violent happening throughout the entire course of the movie." Leon has said that his dream would be to do an epic George A. Romero zombie film, saying that no one quite captured the essence of the original Romero trilogy, that they were doing it well when The Walking Dead first started, but they kind of fell off for me. Someone really needs to capture that essence somewhere between Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. That's what I enjoy. As far as the future, both Leon and Thornton have confirmed that a Terrifier 3 is planned, along with further installments that will slowly build on Art's background and motives. With the heroine of Terrifier having been driven insane, Terrifier's two protagonists is also set to be the franchise lead and return in future films and related media. As far as where I think the franchise is going, I can sum that up in one word: hell. Like all lore, the ending usually reflects the beginning in some meaningful way. The devil and his followers will still be on their quest to bring forth the Antichrist and take over the world. Sienna will have to go down there in a last-ditch effort to try to stop them, fighting deadites as she goes. I mean, come on, it's the third one. We might as well Army of Darkness this bitch. I'm expecting castles, dragons, and of course, evil fucking clowns. Think Game of Thrones in hell, where the castle is abandoned of all the characters except for evil ones. And Sienna has to go and fight literally everybody. And I'm expecting Art to be a royal pain in the ass. After seeing the post-credit scene, it appears to me that Art is now raising his own army of yellow-eyed demons that are loyal to him, most likely to take down Sienna. The possibilities for this are absolutely endless, most likely ending several movies later with Art being dropped into some kind of deep, bottomless pit, and Sienna saving the day, of course. Naturally, I would expect some kind of scene where Art pops his head up like Freddy just to let the audience know he's coming back. Because we gotta keep him coming back, right? You just gotta keep him coming. I mean, we haven't had a supernatural masked killer like Michael, Freddy, Jason, Jigsaw, Leatherface, Chucky in a long time. Like the 90s. It's weird to me that Ghostface is kind of like the newest masked, iconic movie serial killer. You know, we've kind of moved away from that. We have things like Dahmer and, you know, we're always watching those kind of stupid true crime type of deals, but even as early as the 2000s, like Final Destination took front stage, followed by like Paranormal Activity and the Saw movies and, you know, Jordan Peele stuff, but we really haven't had a masked serial killer in a slasher doing a new genre, just scaring the shit out of people in a long ass time. So the more movies they want to make, the better. I will show up for them. I love that they have this like grindhouse midnight showing feeling. The quality isn't that great, but you don't care because it has a lot of these great practical effects. It's nothing like Halloween Ends. I enjoyed Halloween Ends for what it was. With a little bit of time to kind of separate myself from my first viewing, getting past the whole Corey Cunningham thing and just taking that movie for what it is. I still can't get past the fact that the dialogue is written like one of the Twilight sequels. I mean, everyone just speaks in complete... You know what? I'm getting off track. My point I'm trying to make is that Terrifier 2 is not that movie. Terrifier 2 is the little engine that could. Terrifier 2 is the sleeper hit that keeps coming back by audience demand. And if you're a horror fan, there's really nothing more romantic and amazing like that. All of your favorite iconic horror movies, it's like a badge of honor. It's a rite of passage. So you put that up against The Black Phone or Halloween 13, Halloween Ends. I'm going to go see Terrifier 2 at every turn. But that's just my opinion. These are just my theories. Again, completely subjective, placed together by all the information that I found. I'm pretty sure this is where it's all heading. Comment down below. What did you think? Do you think it's going to end in hell? Do you have a theory about the pale-faced girl? I'm going to make a whole video about her because I have an idea of where that is. Couldn't really fit that into this one. Comment down below, what did you think of Terrifier 2? Are you going to go see Terrifier 3? Is it your favorite horror movie of 2022? I did a poll recently asking what is your favorite movie of horror movie of 2022, and it did pretty well. Unfortunately, I could only fit 4 in a bracket, but of all of them, Terrifier 2 seemed to win out. So comment down below. Would love to get your thoughts. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I have been John here on Burns Reviews, and we will see you next time.